give us a minute for everyone to come on in. Yes. Okay, good afternoon again. Thank you all so much for being here and for being on the front line of helping us do the best we can communicating to residents and visitors of the city of New Orleans. Now is absolutely the time to pay attention. Heed every single warning that comes from the city of New Orleans, and as you listen to media outlets, pay attention to all tornado as well as flash flood warnings. Be prepared for the impacts. We know that we took on a lot of water this morning, up to 8 inches within 3 hours in some areas. Like Broadmoor took on about 7.5, Treme took on about 8.42. Please continue to execute precaution. We ask that you begin to clean up post-flooding from this morning if possible, with more rain in store for the city of New Orleans. This is the time to help us clear debris in front of catch basins. In some areas, we knew that they were prepared for trash pickup this morning, for example, that did not get picked up. However, it ended up, of course, in drains as well. So we're asking residents at this time to help us remove that debris. We are monitoring levels of the Mississippi River. We are monitoring the potential threat of a tropical cyclone 2. It is still too soon to tell what the impact will be, but we believe there will be an impact. You will hear from the National Weather Service during this press conference, who will give us more detailed information. But it is never too early to prepare. Gather supplies, protect and clean your property as well as your street, working with your neighbors. Stay connected to NOLA Ready and city updates. Ready.nola@nola.gov. As you'll hear, our agencies that come after me, we will continue to keep residents updated through alerts, again, from the city of New Orleans. I have formally declared a state of emergency as it relates to this storm. It has been signed, the declaration has been signed and also filed with the courts this afternoon. While it is uncertain what the impact will be, we will be affected and we must be prepared. We are to respond effectively. As we saw this morning, water can rise very quickly and impede traffic and travel. Be safe, be smart, take care of your neighbors, take care of yourself. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Benjamin of the National Weather Service to give us another update, and we will keep giving you updates throughout this press conference from leadership of the city of New Orleans and partner agencies. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin.
Good afternoon. We currently have a Hurricane Hunter aircraft that's going out looking for the center of this developing cyclone as we speak. That will help us dramatically when it comes to finding the center, which will help us with the modeling on exactly where this may go. So you'll be seeing a little bit better understanding of where this is going to make landfall from the National Hurricane Center as that information comes in over the course of the next couple of hours. As this comes in, though, what people need to understand, I think some of the main points are that heavy rain is going to be possible now through the exit of this storm. Tremendous amounts of rain can happen in a very short amount of time, similar to what we saw this morning. And as we get closer to the landfall, heavy bands of rain are going to move across the area and could potentially cause flash flood emergencies similar to what we saw today. Other things that may be of concern for the city and for the area will be storm surge. Water is the killer 75% of the time when it comes to hurricanes and tropical storms. It's not the wind. So we shouldn't just focus on what category it is. We shouldn't just focus on how strong the winds are when water is what does most of the unfortunate impacts when it comes to people losing their lives. And finally, I think as we move forward with this storm, again, I reiterate what the mayor was mentioning. It is time to prepare. It's time to look at your plan. It's time to make sure that you know what you're going to do and get those supplies. I guess I do want to add one other thing. Obviously, the river is of concern, and depending on the exact track, on the exact intensity, and many other factors that come into play when it comes to storm surge, it is likely that a storm surge will move up the river. It may increase the levels of the river that we're sitting at right now. Right now we have the possibility of reaching 20 feet. That is not what we would consider a worst case scenario, but what people I need to understand is it is all impending on where this track is. If this moves off a little bit to the west or to the east, it can have a huge impact on the way the storm surge interact with the river. And so therefore people need to keep constant vigilance as we move through the next few days to keep an idea of what's going on, and from there we can all stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll now go to Director Colin Honor of Emergency Preparedness. Colin?
Thank you, Mayor. New Orleans Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness will have the city's Emergency Operations Center here at City Hall activated through the duration of this tropical system. Representatives from our public safety agencies, infrastructure, and human services will be in the EOC 24/7 to monitor impacts from this potential system. The Real-Time Crime Center additionally will continue its 24/7 operations and provide with real-time situational awareness and monitoring of water across the city. As the mayor mentioned, she has declared an emergency for both what happened this morning with Invest 92L and now the potential for a tropical storm or Hurricane Barry. I'm asking residents, the office is asking residents now to prepare for heavy rain and for potential power outages. As mentioned, clean leaves and debris from gutters, downspouts, and in front of catch basins. If it's a bigger job than you can handle, call 311. Also, if a storm drain is not functioning, visibly not functioning, call 311. Secure outdoor furniture and very important garbage bins. It creates more debris. Gather emergency supplies, including water, food, and medications for at least 3 days. The first 72 is on you. Residents with medical and mobility needs, make sure you have all your medications, and if you are a dialysis patient, please attend any last-minute appointments. Power outages are possible with this storm. People with electrically dependent medical equipment should call 311 to enroll in the city's special needs registry. The special needs call center will be open 24/7 beginning Thursday, tomorrow at 8 a.m. and remain open through the duration of the event to reach out to those people with special needs in the city that need assistance. All residents and visitors should stay connected and pay attention throughout the duration of the storm. Sign up for emergency alerts at ready.nola.gov. Text your zip code to 888-777. Follow us at NOLA Ready on social media. And everything that I'm talking about you can find on ready.nola.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Colonel Everett?
Thank you, Mayor. As you've heard from Colin, and as you're going to hear from the remainder of our leadership, we've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, over a year since last hurricane season, looking at this problem, that it's here today. This is going to be an opportunity to show, I think, the public and the rest of the nation that we in New Orleans know how to deal with our problems that the weather brings to our shores. I want you to listen to everybody who speaks, because they are the ones who have spent the time and the dedication in their agencies to develop the plans, and we need your assistance to be successful in following those plans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel. Superintendent Ferguson?
Thank you, Mayor. New Orleans Police Department officers were out and ready to respond to calls for service this morning. Thankfully, we did not have to rescue anyone from their residences or from their vehicles during these mornings' heavy rains. With that being the case, we want to remind our residents and visitors alike of a couple of important things. They need to keep in mind during extreme weather situations like we experienced this morning, potentially this week or this weekend. We're all asking that our citizens to be safe and smart during situations like these. Heavy rains can cause streets to quickly become flooded and impassable. Unless it is avoidable, Please remain in your homes and do not go out and drive on flooded streets through the standing water. Your vehicle could potentially stall and block the streets, causing additional problems for all first responders as we are trying to serve and protect you all. As we've been told, the Mississippi River could potentially reach at least 20 feet, as high as 20 feet, and remain there for quite some time. It is vital that no one drive on any levees at any time, and we will be monitoring those vehicles along the levees. Be prepared, monitor news outlets and social media feeds of the City of New Orleans for further weather development and the latest information on flooded streets and road closures. In an emergency, we are always here to help and to come to your aid, and we will get to you as quickly and as safely as possible. But please understand that the streets with standing water cause the same problems for first responders as they do for you, our residents. So be safe. We have numerous boats, state bodies, high water vehicles, and other equipment to make sure that we are prepared for any events that we may face throughout this weekend. They're being issued out to our various districts as well as the divisions to be deployed as necessary. These boats and generators will be, anyone stays safe, if everyone stays safe and smart by remaining in their residence, we should not need to come and get you throughout any of this tremendous weather. We need your help to bring us all safely through this situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Chief Tim McConnell?
Thank you. The members of the New Orleans Fire Department are prepared. We prepare for this type of season all year long. Everyone's been briefed. We'll be up staffing for this event. We provide staffing for logistics at the EOC, and our liaisons have already been up there working. I want to remind everyone, as everyone here keeps reiterating, please be smart, stay tuned to the news, and stay inside as these weather events start to affect us. If you lose electricity, please be mindful of generators or candles. These are the type of things that cause horrible accidents. We have folks, carbon monoxide with generators. Remember, your generator must be outside and 10 feet away from your residence to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning or a fire. And candles also cause a great hazard. So make sure you use them cautiously in a metal container, away from any combustibles if you were to lose electricity and resort to that. Once again, the men and women in the New Orleans Fire Department train hard for this. They work very hard. I want to thank them for all that they do. And let's try and keep it nice and quiet for them throughout this incident. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Chief. We'll have Dr. Emily Nichols, EMS.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. New Orleans EMS is upstaffed and prepared to respond to this incoming weather as we have done already today. We have additional rescue vehicles, ambulances, command vehicles, and boats that are available and ready. We've been in contact with our local emergency departments and hospitals. Additionally, the health department has been in contact with local nursing facilities to ensure the safety and the health and well-being of all of our residents. Let today be a reminder to confirm and reaffirm your emergency plans and make sure your loved ones are aware of your plans. Additionally, if you have medical needs that limit your ability to respond, as already stated, please take advantage of the special needs registry by calling 311. We want to help you stay safe. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Director Gassan Corbin, Sewage and Water Board.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. The Sewage and Water Board is operating at optimum capacity today. We are fully staffed. We have activated our EOC to level 1. All critical staff is present to respond to any need that might arise. We started this morning with 118 pumps throughout the city. That means we have redundancy at very good level. So if one pump goes down, we have redundant systems in each and every of our stations. We are able to produce as much power as we need to manage all the needs for today's event and all the upcoming events as we move forward. We have monitored all our canals and we believe that they are in good condition and they should run at optimum situation. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm going to call on Director Keith LaGrange, DPW.
Afternoon. We'd like to let everyone know that if, based on this morning's flood, if you had any abandoned vehicles, please contact 311 or 911 if you go back and your vehicle's gone. We have moved them to a safe location. It will not cost the citizens anything to retrieve Also, for preparedness, we are fully staffed. The essential personnel is ready from now all the way through Sunday. We'll be fully staffed to respond to any calls. Also, we want to just reiterate, if the streets are flooded and you see barricades up, please do not move them, bypass them. The intent is to protect people's property. Until the water is received, we will move them in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Captain Barons, Louisiana State Police.
Good afternoon. Louisiana State Police is ready and prepared for the situation. Troop B and Troop N are both fully staffed with the option of going to double staffing. We concentrate on keeping our roadways open and also keeping our patrols in the French Quarter operational during the storm. We ask the public generally to stay off the roadways if at all possible, unless it's an absolute emergency, as what happened this morning. Vehicles driving through flooded areas stalled and stopped emergency responders from accessing various points that they need to access. So please keep your vehicles off the roadway if at all possible. And there's links on the Louisiana State Police website and also the DOT website to monitor road closures. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have Derek Bays, who is representing the Flood Protection Authority.
Derek Bays with the Flood Protection Authority East. Wanted to let everybody know that we have been monitoring the levees not only for this event, but for the last 8 months that we've been in High River. We have absolute confidence in the system and that it will perform as designed. Last night, we began closing floodgates along the Mississippi River levee. We closed additional ones this morning, ones we deemed non-essential. At 6 p.m. this evening, we will begin closing all river gates along the Mississippi River levee in St. Bernard and Orleans Parish, starting downriver and working our way up. It will take us approximately 24 hours, so by Thursday evening, all the gates will be closed. So we encourage people to not go near those gates when we're conducting our operations for their own safety. It's best not to be on the flood side of that system. We will work with police and local officials to ensure that there are no vehicles or anything left out there. But again, the entire river system on the East Bank will be closed by Thursday evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Louisiana National Guard, Colonel.
The Louisiana National Guard is prepared and ready to respond within the state. We begin making statewide preparations. We've started pre-staging, pre-position our assets statewide. Here in New Orleans, we have 24 high water vehicles and 8 boat systems, as well as 2 aviation assets, helicopters that are stationed in Hammond with hoist capability. We're ready to respond to anything that comes and any requests by the city of New Orleans. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colonel. We'll hear from Kevin Dolio, our director of our airport, Louis Armstrong.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. As we look ahead to the potential tropical weather this weekend, the airport has enacted its 2019 hurricane plan. We tested our emergency generators yesterday, topped them all off, and everything's functional. All airport inlets and catch basins are being checked and cleared of debris, if any found. We currently have staff on call and available to respond to emergencies, and additionally, a crew of 60 ride-out staff is identified in the event of an actual event. In the event that a tropical system is headed our way, the airport will stay open unless conditions become unsafe or infrastructure is damaged. It is up to the individual airlines to decide when and if they'll cancel flights. Therefore, travelers should always check their flight status directly with the air carrier they're traveling on before coming to the airport during an event of this nature. Once all airlines have canceled flights, the TSA will stop security screenings. And I must remind everyone that the airport is not a public shelter during storm events. The terminal will be evacuated. There will be no food or retail services available to the public, and any staff present will be focused on responding to the impacts of the weather. All airport staff will continue to stay alert and monitor weather conditions, and we're prepared to take the necessary actions to keep our passengers safe.
Thank you so much. We'll hear from our Entergy partner, Sandra Diggs-Miller.
Entergy is closely monitoring the storm as it moves through the Gulf of Mexico west. Entergy is prepared for the possibility that the weather system could bring severe thunderstorms, strong winds, heavy rains, high tides, coastal flooding to the state that could impact the city of New Orleans. And we're preparing for the impact and possibility of multiple power outages. Our crews and contractors are on alert, in place, and ready to safely restore power to customers as quickly as possible, as it's safe to do so. Safety is a core value at Entergy, and we want that to be a top priority for you too. That's why we urge you and your families to discuss your personal storm plans and get them in place now. For storm safety, preparation, and restoration information, you can go to EntergyStormCenter.com and receive a free downloadable entitled Operation Storm Ready. We ask everyone to take a few minutes and download the free Entergy app by visiting EntergyApp.com. Also, if you have not already signed up for text alerts, you can easily do so by texting capital R, capital E, capital G to 368374. I'll repeat. You can text capital R, capital E, capital G to 36874. Entergy will continue to work closely with the city and city officials, providing information regarding outages and restorations, and we will be an active part of the EOC team. We urge you to stay prepared and keep an eye on weather forecasts, information from us, and messages from the local officials.
Now, Sandra, I know that we had over 9,000 outages today. Where are we now? I think you said it's 6,000?
Right, we had a little over 10,000 actually, Mayor, and we restored 3,400 as of, I think the last report I had was about 45 minutes ago, and we have 6,600 remaining, and we're working on that aggressively right now.
Very good.
And we'll keep the city and the officials updated.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, I do want you all to hear from our Director of Sanitation, Cynthia Sylvain-Lear. And following Cynthia, I want you to hear from Ann McDonald, our Director of Park and Parkways.
Thank you. The Department of Sanitation is ready. All of our workers are considered as essential personnel. But the reality is we need every citizen, every business owner to assist in the effort to clean up after severe weather events. We, as was said, we certainly want people to bring their carts in, their recycling carts, their garbage carts, if their streets start to flood. That is critical. Although our contractors are continuing to work as scheduled at this time, they cannot access streets that are flooded. They may be able to pick up if the waters recede, they may not. So it is really up to citizens to pay attention to what is going on. Do take those necessary steps to secure your trash and your recycling so that we are not clogging critical storm drains. Please listen to notices. If the weather gets to the point that we cannot continue to collect, we will notify citizens via the communications channels. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Ms. Ann McDonald.
Good afternoon. Parks and Parkways forestry crews and cross-trained ground maintenance crews have been working tree emergencies already this morning. Should you have a downed tree or a downed tree limb blocking a roadway or a sidewalk, please call 911. We ask that you be specific, whether it's a completely downed tree or if it's a branch, because we triage those things as needed. Of course, major corridors receive the most attention because we need to make sure safety vehicles have access. We work closely with Entergy Vegetation in the event there is a power line. I ask citizens, please do not go and try to move a tree limb or use your chainsaw at home to remove something. If it is a power line that has energy going to it, please stay away. As everyone has said, be safe, be smart as we get through this event together as a team. Thank you. Call 311 in an event of a downed tree. Thanks.
Thank you, Ann. And at this time, I would like to call on council members who would like to say a few words. Councilman Brissett.
Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership. We want everybody to be safe. There are many vulnerable areas throughout the city. These exit ramps, on-ramps, underpasses, they could flood again. We're hearing that severe weather could be more on tomorrow as it relates to rain. We want our citizens to report down lines, down trees. The New Orleans City Council meeting scheduled for tomorrow will be postponed, and a notice will be going out shortly. As I said, we want everybody to be safe. Please check on our elderly citizens, and thank you very much.
Thank
Mayor.
you, Councilman. Councilman Banks?
The one thing we cannot fool ourselves is that we are independent in this. We are all in this together, and we are dependent on each other. Now, everybody who's on this side who has spoken this morning is committed to making sure that each and every one of the people listening to this is safe. But everybody hearing this, you gotta commit too. None of this is about fun and giggles. This is very serious. So if you get a warning, if you get a directive, please take it very seriously, because there's nothing we're playing about. We wouldn't be here if this wasn't as serious as it is. A few weeks ago, I issued a fun and cute way of trying to get the storm drains cleared out, the storm drain challenge. I received multiple nasty emails by saying it's not my responsibility, legally I don't have to do that. Well, the fact is, it's not your legal responsibility. You can even debate whether it's your moral responsibility. But I will question whether it is your practical responsibility. If you see trash in front of a storm drain, move it. Because the water can't get into the storm drain, there's a high probability, or a higher probability, it will get into your house or your car. So whether or not you feel legally obligated or not, the practicality of it is that we really need to make sure that the water can get to where it needs to get pumped out. Now, we had a convergence this morning of trash being picked up in a flood. Many trash containers were knocked over. Many items of trash have now jammed up in front of those drains. So please, take it upon yourself. Put your gloves on. Go out there and bag that stuff up and get it out of the way. Because don't forget, if it can't get into the drain, it's going to get somewhere. And that somewhere might be your house or your car. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Palmer?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I think the reoccurring theme here is personal responsibility. So please make sure that you sign up for NOLA Ready. The city already has over 200,000 people signed up. We need more. You need to keep educated and aware of everything that happens at real time. In addition, also, just like my fellow councilmember said, please check on elderly and on your neighbors and shut-ins, and make sure that the special need registry, you can offer them assistance in any type of event. Again, I want to thank all the professionals around us. They've been working tirelessly. I'm very confident that we're going to get through this well. And again, please exert personal responsibility around your home and in your block and in your neighborhood, and that's how the city will come together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes all our speakers. We will take questions. LaToya.
Mike Pearlstein, WWL.
It's a question for Gassan Corban. In an interview earlier today, you mentioned that there were some minor issues that always pop up in these types of events. Have you been able to identify those, and then going forward with the weather expected, any adjustments that need to be made? If you could talk about that. Thank you.
Again, we started with 118 pumps. We had issues with 2 of them, and then throughout the morning we were able to manage those 2 situations, and we're back to 118. And that is always a possibility that one of those pumps could go down, could trip offline. That's why redundancy is so critical, and that's why I use the word optimum, because we are able to optimize the capacity at each and every home station. So.
And again, my second part of my question, looking forward, some of the neighborhoods saw what they saw catch basin not draining. Was there something going on out there? One bowl, leads to the next as the water gets pumped out of the city. Were there issues, and are those possible issues going forward with the upcoming weather?
Again, a couple things happening here. We are running at optimum capacity, so the water getting to me, I'm able to pump it, but it has to get to me. So if there is an issue with the catch basin and that's impeding flow into the collection system, that's slowing the water down, causing it to elevate and flood. So again, the theme here is if you see a clogged basin and you feel safe about clearing it, do so, because that will help the situation around your house. But we're running at optimum capacity, and our 118 pumps continue to be operational.
Travis Mack.
It's just the same kind of questions. I mean, just to piggyback what Michael said, I'm sure you've seen this. a lot of people are skeptical that the pumps did work at full capacity given the amount of water in areas like the French Quarter and downtown. If this is 118 of 120, is that a scary situation given the fact that areas, we talked to people today that didn't flood this badly in Hurricane Katrina in 2005.
Again, if you look at the numbers, in excess of 8 inches within 3 hours, that's a major storm, and I can challenge that any system anywhere in this country that can actually manage that amount of water. It inundates, it overpowers any drainage system anywhere. So ours is a little bit unique because you have to pump it, it's not gravity, but even if it's gravity, those pipes get surcharged and then the water backs up. So it's just this situation. Is it scary? Yes, 8 inches of water in 3 hours, it is very scary.
Kimberly Kirk,
And for Mr. Corbin as well, if you don't mind, just to follow up on that, of the 118 pumps that you say were working today, does that mean that they were all on and working at, they were at their full efficiency?
I said they were available, and that brings redundancy to each and every station that we have. So take for example a station that has 4, let's say pump station 2 that has 4 pumps. We would never at any given time run all 4 pumps. We were at optimum capacity as it's designed, it runs at 3 pumps. The 4th stands ready to replace one of the other 3 if it trips offline or whatever. It goes off, and then the 4th one brings that. That's optimum. So there's the word maximum number is 118 available, but the optimum is different based on how much we use and what the pump station is designed to use. So
Was there any problems at pump station 3 by chance? I mean, were they all working at full efficiency as well?
I can answer that offline. We had 2 situations. One that had to do with an aerial line that was impacted by, we think, lightning that tripped one of the stations or the pumps offline, but then we got it back within a very short time. So again, the impact of that pump being down is minuscule in terms of, if the flooding is at 2 feet, maybe it would have been at, maybe half an inch less, or the time to drain that water may take 5 extra minutes or less. So it's insignificant in terms of the overall operation. That's why I use the word optimum.
Jessica Williams, the advocate.
In light of the disturbance in the Gulf, Mayor, that is expected to become a hurricane, can you say anything today about what would trigger a call for mandatory or voluntary evacuation, given the fact that the river is so high already?
Well, what would trigger that is, one, information as we're continuing to monitor that will come through the National Weather Service, and of course how our emergency preparedness office is working in collaboration even with state officials. So as we get more information, that will influence the call that we will make, whether or not that will be voluntary or mandatory. We have to keep in mind that as these events are fast, they come quick, and whether or not they're going to be slow moving once they get here. We're looking at all of this, and based on the information that we have, we will make those decisions. As we know right now, sheltering in place is what we're asking people to do. Stay off the street, stay in your home, particularly as we will experience heavy rainfall coming Thursday into Friday.
This is a question for Chief Ferguson. A lot of people were upset today in the downtown area, in the French Quarter, and really parts of Uptown that haven't flooded in a long time, because motorists were driving down their street and they thought that was the biggest problem, not just the raining, but the fact that when people were trying to maneuver through it, it was causing water to get in their homes and cars. Is there anything that you all can do to police that, or to possibly cite people? Not that your officers are out working, but could your officers cite people, or how do you police something like that?
Absolutely, we can cite them, but the main thing that I mentioned earlier is you have to remember that some of the places and the vehicles that our residents are in, and they're going in these vehicles, we may not be able to get there too because we are in vehicles as well. So, but we are strategically placing our officers in areas in which we can possibly monitor this speeding, and we've encouraged over and over again, just stay off the streets, period, especially these next few days. Stay within your residence. We're asking our visitors to stay within their hotels. Stay wherever it is that you may be housed throughout these next few days so that we can get to you, whomever it may be, so it don't block the vehicle, that the vehicles don't stall, don't block the streets, or anything of that nature. So again, we will be monitoring that just as we will be monitoring the levees. No driving on the levees.
are y'all gonna put a curfew in place by chance? Did y'all mention that? Is there a possibility for a curfew?
There is a possibility. We have discussed that. As we get more information, we will determine if we will move forward or not.
WWNO.
Yeah, where are the, in terms of the lowest levees on the river, where are the most vulnerable locations that could be overtopped if the storm surge came up?
Sure. Levee flood protection? Yeah.
The primary area that we are looking at is the industrial canal lock on the river itself. And there is one other location actually at the Corps of Engineer headquarters. That area is already planned to be flood. The one location at the lock, we are not as concerned about. Obviously, we're monitoring it because any overtopping there goes directly into the industrial canal basin. We do not anticipate any flooding from that into the adjacent neighborhoods. It would just simply flow into the basin that already has its own system of flood walls to protect it.
But if it came through the core property, it would seep into the neighborhood, or?
It could, but I mean, that's a area that area has been planned to be flood for a long time. They actually have a project plan to fix that down the road. That is a very minor area of concern for ours. We're confident that that will be handled, and we're prepared to assist them as well if needed.
Thank you, Derek.
Is there anyone else?
Derek Bays? That's what you asked for? Yeah. Who asked for me? B-A-Y-S?
B-O-E-S-E.
Pronounced Bays.
One second.
Quick follow.
One second. Yes, ma'am.
Jambalaya News, is there any information that you guys are sharing on social media that is translated into Spanish, or how can we get that information out? I want to congratulate you because I've seen the NOLA Ready flyers translated, but I want to know if there's any additional information or if the NOLA Ready alerts are also sent in Spanish.
Yes, actually they are, and even when you're receiving these notices with your technological device, you can put it in whatever language and it will translate for you as well. That's accessible on the city's website as well, but we will continue to make sure that our residents who are speaking various languages, whether Spanish or Vietnamese, have accurate information and timely information as everyone else receives the same, level of communication. No intent, and if there's any need, I don't want you to hesitate, okay?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up for the mayor. So given the rain event from today, when many of the major thoroughfares were blocked and traffic was stalled, with this upcoming event that could stretch for several days, would you encourage people, if they can leave, to leave? Simply because, if we get as much rain as we did, people will not be able to leave at that point, possibly for several days on end. So I'm just sort of wondering, A, would you start to recommend people who are able to leave, and then at what point would you announce either voluntary or mandatory evacuation?
And again, we will announce voluntary or mandatory based on information as we receive it. Staying in constant communication, meaning our Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness connected with the National Weather Service. We will make those calls once we feel that they need to be made. As it relates to residents leaving, people can make up their own mind based on the existing conditions now. That's something that we can always do. So I think based on the heavy rainfall that we experienced this morning, I think that we anticipate some of the same conditions as Thursday and Friday approach. But once we get more information, again, through our partners, I will make that determination of whether or not voluntary and or mandatory. That's why we're asking residents to stay tuned to communications coming from the city of New Orleans at every level. Take it serious, and we're going to do the best job possible of making sure that we're communicating not only effectively but regularly. Okay, thank you all so much. Stay safe, and we really do appreciate you.